Greetings, race fans, and today is the day. Well, yesterday was the day since one of the races ended at night, and you know me, I can't film videos late at night because I'll lose sleep. Yep, that's right, it's the day of the Triple Crown Review Spectacular! First up is the Monaco Grand Prix. The race begins with the usual formation lap as Formula 1 has a standing start instead of a rolling start. After the grid start ensues, the race begins with Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc battling for the lead. Wait, there's action in the Monaco Grand Prix! One of the Aston drivers even makes a pass and Gabriel hits the wall and causes our first yellow flag of the day. The virtual safety car comes out and a few drivers come down to pit road. Haas F1 has issues down in pit road, which is amazing considering that F1 has no refueling involved, just tire changes. Even Kimi Antonelli does his best to overtake other drivers, even with how big modern F1 cars are nowadays, especially at Monaco. The race restarts and Norris is still leading. So far, not much is happening. Well, this is Monaco after all, so what do you expect? Lewis starts chasing down Alonso, and another yellow flag gets thrown as Pierre Gasly hits the wall and damages his car. God damn it, Alpine. During the yellow, Verstappen is trailing Piastri. Because of the damage done by Gasly's car, pit road had to be closed. Hulkenberg comes down to pit road. Colpantino is next to come down to pit road, and next time around, Hajar is next to come down to pit road, and presently, he's ahead of Lawson. Alonso and Ocon both come down to pit road at the same time. On lap 18, Lance Stroll comes down to pit road, and Bearman joins in alongside it. Yeah, I thought it was Kevin Magnussen driving, but no, he got replaced by Ollie Bearman. Yeah, go figure. Hamilton pits in a lap later. Norris comes down to pit road and gives up the lead to Leclerc. More drivers come down to pit road on lap 21. Piastri joins in. Leclerc stays out even on lap 21. Impressive considering that he's on mediums. At least it makes sense of why Verstappen stays out as he's on the harder compounds. Eventually, Leclerc comes down to pit road and Verstappen is in the lead. Colpantino makes another pit stop and Bortello joins alongside him. Verstappen is next to pit in after staying out for a whopping 29 laps. Norris gets his lead back, and the leading drivers start getting caught up in lap traffic. Norris even puts Stroll a lap down. Keep in mind, some teams are slower than others, as they are all different despite looking the same. Yeah, the cars in Formula 1, yeah, they're different. They're different on how the aero parts function, and some teams spend more money than others. Unlike IndyCar, F1 teams have more freedom to put on different aero parts and configure their cars however they want to, as they have more money to spend. And that makes sense. This is the reason why I don't want different chassis manufacturers in IndyCar and different tires in IndyCar. Because, yeah, it all comes down to teams spending more money and results in, like, the other chassis manufacturer trying to get an edge over the other, yada yada yada, and if teams had freedom to choose whichever aero parts they had, it would be more money. Yeah, someone suggested it. And so it's like, well, it's like if NFL had players only go at a certain speed to save costs, but there's a difference between that and racing. Racing involves money and R&D, and if a chassis manufacturer is seen trying to compete with another chassis manufacturer, then they try to get more R&D and money just to spend, well, on trying to get an advantage over the other. Yeah, like, they'll spend, yeah, chassis manufacturers spend a lot of time in R&D trying to get an advantage over the other, but you get the point. That's why IndyCar only has Dallara as their only chassis manufacturer, so we don't have that going on. Jeez. It's like people didn't learn from the WEC with why they had to build a spec hybrid system and spec battery packs, because different manufacturers and teams are spending an ungodly amount of time and money trying to outclass each other and trying to get an advantage over the other. Yeah, that's why spec parts exist. Anyways. Liam Lawson decides to pit in yet again. Albon pits in, and he wasn't able to protect himself from getting lapped by Leclerc. Bortello makes another pit stop, and we get another yellow flag with Alonso having mechanical issues with his car. Looks like Newey isn't going to be happy about this, especially when he just left Red Bull to join Aston Martin. Albon nearly hits the barrier but manages to get away scot-free. Both Mercedes drivers have the threat of being lapped and they have yet to pit. Lawson comes down to pit road yet again and Albon joins in alongside him. Bortello pits in and he's still ahead of his Sauber teammate. Piastri and Hadjar both decide to come down to pit road, and he gives up third place to Verstappen. Leclerc makes another pit stop, and this will affect his track position. Norris is next to come down to pit road. Despite the quick stop, he wasn't able to hold off Verstappen. George Russell is under review by the stewards for corner cutting and he'll get the penalty. And his teammate does the same exact thing. Yeah, cutting corners to get past lap traffic has become a thing in Monaco. Sainz and Russell both come down to pit road at the same time. Hamilton is next to come down to pit road, but Hadjar is still a minute behind him. Even with hard tires, Norris still managed to catch up to Verstappen. And yes, Verstappen will have to make another pit stop or get penalized. He hasn't pitted in again yet, so he'll most likely get the penalty if he doesn't make that mandatory second pit stop. The race will also have to get red flagged if he decides not to pit in again. Yeah, there's a lot of rules to follow. Leclerc finds it difficult to overtake Norris as Monaco is narrow. Even at lap 70, Verstappen still stays out. Kimi Antonelli makes another pit stop while Norris and Leclerc continue to duke it out. Leclerc does a Gran Turismo 7 style leg brake. Yeah, you know those opponents that decide to brake really fast in some races that always become a problem for drivers. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yet Norris continues to defend. With 2 laps to go, all Norris has to do is continue blocking Leclerc to win the GP. Tsunoda comes down to pit road, yet Verstappen stays out even on lap 77. Verstappen was hoping for another caution, and that didn't happen. Verstappen does a Ferrari strat and pits in on, well, the lap that is close to the final lap before pit road gets closed, which is ironic considering that neither Leclerc nor Hamilton decide to pit in before pit road closes. It's the final lap and Lando Norris wins the Monaco Grand Prix in epic fashion after holding off Charles Leclerc. Needless to say, this is the best Monaco GP of the modern era, at least in my opinion. Unlike the Formula 2 race, the Formula 1 race manages to deliver on having an epic win. And it's from the team that was looking to be hopeless a few years ago. But I'm glad that McLaren went back to become a top-tier team. He's also the first McLaren driver to win at Monaco since Lewis Hamilton did it in 2008. Because this is F1, we do get driver talk after our driver interviews and the winning driver's national anthem that plays at the podium. I forgot to mention the champagne last time, but F1 drivers always celebrate with the champagne after they get their photographs taken. This year's Monaco Grand Prix gets a 9 out of 10 for the action that went on, and for the first time, this year's Monaco Grand Prix gets a 9 out of 10 for the action that went on, and for the first McLaren Monaco victory since 2008. It's crazy to think that it took 17 years for McLaren to win at Monaco yet again, but anyways, that's enough Formula 1 for today. So let's head on over to the other open wheel race that is taking place today, aka the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Greetings, race fans, and up next is the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Kyle Larson will also be doing the double again this year, and thankfully, weather isn't much of a factor this time around. Although, he still has to be careful not to crash his car knowing what happened during testing and practice. Holy crapper, it's Tony Stewart! Yeah, we got an interview with Tony Stewart, who remains to be the only driver to have completed all 1,100 laps of the Memorial Day double. And guess who else decided to join as special guest? Yep, it's 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson and NFL legend Tom Brady. Very fitting since both have won 7 times, at least in their respective leagues. We also get NASCAR style of driver intro, something that I didn't know existed in the IndyCar series itself after I saw this race. After Alex Rodriguez gave off the command for the drivers to get into their cars, we get the marching band. A slight weather delay happened, but compared to last year, it's not that bad. It's certainly something that thankfully wouldn't affect Kyle Larson. The pace car driver was Michael Strahan, who is a former football player. Roger Penske, aka the IndyCar Series owner and the owner of IMS, gave off the command to start their engines after having to sit through sprinkles. Seriously, like, come on. You couldn't run with sprinkles at 230 miles per hour. Man, these cars must be really slippery with the frickin' slicks, because in Gran Turismo 7 I could run with softs and racing tires with light drizzle. I can't run with heavy rain though. Heavy rain makes sense, but sprinkles? Yeah, like, I don't get that. Yeah, Roger Penske, if you're listening, please make intermediate tires for speedway so that we don't have rain delays anymore. Yeah, make a type of rain tire that has higher grip than the average rain tire and is fit for super speedways and speedways. Yeah, and I bet that wouldn't happen because, well, too advanced, and it probably would be too unrealistic, but I still want to see it though, since it will help. Tom Brady is also riding in the two-seater IndyCar, something that a very few get the honor of experiencing themselves. The 109th annual running of the Indianapolis begins with the parade lap. Interesting fun fact, Roberto Guerrero crashed out during the parade lap, and he was running in a Buick-powered IndyCar. Yeah, that's Buick for you. Speaking of crashing out early, Scotty Mack crashes out before the race even began. And Scott Dixon isn't lucky either, as he too has tire issues. Scotty Mack is out of the race, and as the race gets started, Robert Schwartzman jumps up to the lead and ends up in a battle with Pato O'Ward. Just like that, our first caution of the day happens. Marco Andretti crashes out, and it just goes to show that, even to this day, the Andretti curse still continues to haunt the family. Marco is out of the race, which is sad considering that it's his only start of 2025. I feel bad for the Andretti family and Scotty Mack here, yeah, especially when the Andretti curse thing happened. Several drivers come down to pit road under caution. The race restarts with Robert Schwartzman still managing to hold off Pato O'Ward until O'Ward gets past him. So far, nothing bad has happened with Larson. And Sato is in second. Holy crap, he's like freaking Yoda, yeah. Keep in mind, Sato is 48 years old, but if you know Yoda, age matters not. Size matters not, because Yoda will still kick your butt, even as old as he is, because he is a Jedi Master. At least according to the Star Wars lore. Yeah, anyone who knows Star Wars knows how powerful and swift Yoda could be, even with him being old. Schwartzman gets overtaken by Rosenquist, and then Sato gets past Pato O'Ward. Wait, what? Sato is like Yoda here, old, but he can still prove that he's not one to be underestimated. With age comes experience, and Takuma is there to prove it. O'Ward continues to run down Sato. Schwartzman is currently running in fourth. The race gets yellow flagged yet again due to rain. Oh, come on! I just hope that's only a passing shower and not a rain shower. During the caution, another famous figure makes a cameo here, and it's Keanu Reeves. Several drivers come down to pit road, including Christian Lundgaard, who had to go in due to a puncture. Kyle Larson has issues down on pit road, and we also get chaos on pit road. Alexander Rossi stays out, but Scott Dixon comes down to pit road to get his brake changed. But anyways, the caution ends with Alexander Rossi and Rasmussen going 1-2. The restart is under review. Alexander Rossi and several other drivers come down to pit road. Ed Carpenter takes the lead. Connor Daly is running fourth, and Jack Harvey is leading after Carpenter pits in. Holy crap, this is getting exciting! Jack Harvey is next to come down to pit road, and Sato is back in the lead. Larson jumped up to 22nd, while Daly jumped up to second, which means Daly is right behind Sato. Well, that was until Daly decided to pit in. Malukas is now in second, and just like that, nearly an entire field comes down to pit road. Malukas is seen making a huge lead gap, and is now running down Takuma Sato. Holy crap, this might be the highlight for the Indy Superstar on YouTube. Rossi's car starts blowing smoke. Because of that, he had to pit in. And his car catches on fire. Oh no! I'm having Suarez flashbacks here. DeFrancesco also pits in. Kyle Larson jumps up to 20th and is trailing behind Nolan Segal. Malukas and Sato have to deal with lap traffic. Newgarden is running in 10th. And another caution comes out with Rinus VK's brakes giving up, and he crashes into pit lane. Yeah, he's not anywhere near the racetrack. He was down on pit road. A lot of drivers come down to pit road during caution. That also includes Takuma Sato, who nearly misses his pit box. But Robert Schwartzman has even bigger issues on pit road as he damages his front wing and one of his wheels. Because of that, he's sadly out of the race. Ryan Hunter-Reay is now in the lead. Scott Dixon also has brake issues when he came down to pit road, but anyways. The race restarts with Ray leading and we get an intense 4-wide battle. And Larson spins out! Yeah, that's bad because he's doing the double. Ah, good for his documentary, man. Ah, crap. Kiff and Simpson also gets involved in the crash. It's worse for Larson as he won't be able to complete all 1100 laps of the Memorial Day double. Hopefully he'll feel better at Charlotte. I'm glad that DeFrancesco is still in the race as he happens to be from Canada and having a Canadian win the Indy 500 would be a big deal for me as I happen to come from Canada. Yeah, crazy isn't it? I don't celebrate Memorial Day, but I still wish some of my friends a happy Memorial Day though. I still like to make Memorial Day themed builds in Gran Turismo 7 because why not? Crazy, isn't it? And if that's not bad enough, more light rain comes down, which means that the race is still under caution. Ray is no longer in the lead as he came down to pit road to make a fuel stop. And as the race restarts, we get another sudden caution. I'm hoping a full lap comes in when the race gets restarted. Several other drivers came down to pit road during caution, and the race restarts with DeFrancesco jumping to the lead. And by sheer luck, Daly gets past Palou. Even Callum Ilott is making a jump. Did you see that? Daly jumped up to second, he's now behind the Canadian. Both Daly and Malukas battle for second. It's a battle for the racing YouTubers. If he gets past DeFrancesco, it might be our first underdog Indy 500 victory. And the two still duke it out. Daly starts drafting the Canadian and is trying his best to get past him. Holy crap, Daly is now leading. If all goes well, we would get an underdog victory and an Indiana native winning the race. Newgarden has moved up to 7th and has made quite the big move on the restart. And another driver has issues on pit road. Helio Castroneves has managed to move up tonight. Both Castroneves and Sato come down to pit road. Daly is next to join in and they are neck and neck on pit road. But keep in mind, there's no race off of pit road in IndyCar. More drivers, including Malukas, decide to stop for fresh tires and gas. And then Newgarden has issues on pit road. Dang, so much for his third Indy 500 win. Malukas, Daly, and Palou have an intense battle for the lead, and Daly wins the battle for the eventual lead. Now it's the two Indy YouTubers battling for the lead, but it looks like that Malukas isn't planning to pass Daly. Just like that, Foster overtakes Palou while the battle continues. Both drivers have to deal with Foster, who has a habit of trying to unlap himself. Newgarden is now out of the race, and all hopes of him getting a third Indy 500 are gone. Ray is staying out as he is doing a Verstappen strat. Malukas gets past Connor Daly, and Daly is now starting to fall behind. Daly is now in 5th, and he gets overtaken by Ferrucci. Daly came down to pit road as one of his tires is starting to get really worn. Palou and Ferrucci both come down to pit road, and just like that, Malukas is now in the lead as Ray pitted in. And Ray also stalls on pit road. Good lord, they just keep on coming. The pit road issues just keep on coming in the Indy 500. Malukas manages to fend off Palou even with cold tires. Lundgaard is next to come down to pit road. Holy crap, Award is catching up. Ericsson and Rasmussen come down to pit road, and they give up the lead to Palou, who is battling Malukas and Ericsson for the lead. Ericsson managed to get away from being overtaken by Palou, and Malukas as he had a fast pit stop. And he still manages to hang on to lead even with a failed passing attempt. And just like that, Palou overtakes Ericsson and the race ends under caution. Either way, the race gets an 8 out of 10 as Alex wins again, although I really wanted Malukas or Ericsson to win. On the decimal scale, it gets a 7.5. As the race had a late yellow that ruined it. So, this is the first time that a road driver won on an oval since Alex Zanardi. Yeah, remember when Alex Zanardi won at Gateway? Yeah, he was thought to be hopeless on ovals just like Alex Palou, but surprised everyone when he won at the frickin' Worldwide Technology Center of all places. So it gets a point for that, and ironically enough, both were from Chip Ganassi Racing, or Zanardi was from Chip Ganassi Racing one time. So yeah, Alex is making history and people should be celebrating instead of condemning him for winning everything. Yeah, it's like a lot of people complain about Palou and the hybrid system in IndyCar. I'm sick and tired of the complaints about the hybrid system in IndyCar. I've actually looked it up, by the way. The hybrid system in IndyCar doesn't actually make the car really heavy like a Sherman tank. In super speedway trim, it only manages to weigh 798 kilograms. It still weighs less than 800 kilograms, and in road trim, it can only get past 850, and in shorter speedway trim, it only barely manages to scrape past 850. So yeah, it's not as heavy as a lot of people are saying it is. It's like they're treating it like it's heavy as a Sherman tank. And I am sick of these complaints because these people forget that the Lamborghini Revuelto exists and it's a cool hybrid car. Yeah, and I'm pretty much sick and tired of hybrid hate altogether. I just don't like it when people diss hybrid cars in general. Because hybrid is good. Hybrid makes cars more reliable. And hybrid can also lead to greater things like the McLaren P1 using the hybrid system to increase the impact of the engine and make it faster. Hybrid can do cool things, man. He should get a seat in Cadillac F1 as he's just that great. But anyways, on to the Coke 600. Greetings, race fans, and as the Triple Crown Reviewer Spectacular comes to an end, we take a look at this year's Coca-Cola 600. And it's also the first time that NASCAR races went live on Amazon Prime, but sadly, it's only in the US. Us Canadians will still have to sell for TSN. Oh well. Edwards and Dale Jr. are two of the broadcasters in the booth itself. Yeah, what more can you ask for? Probably an unrealistic amount of horsepower. Yeah, like, I see a lot of freaking NASCAR guys ask for 950 and 1,000 horsepower. Jeez, like, do you really want the cars to be snappy? Even snappier than they already are? Like, and it also leads to reliability issues because more horsepower means bigger impact on engines. And keep in mind, this isn't the era where NASCAR racing cars have to run with just one engine. They rebuild the engine the next day and try to run it, so you have to get as much out of the engine as possible, right? Yeah, I'm glad I cleared that up. And even the Xfinity broadcaster is in the booth. After we get this speech from the military personnel, they give off the command to start their engines, and notice how they say, "Gentlemen, start your engines," instead of "Drivers, start your engines." Yeah, it's something I wanted to point out, but anyways. The 2025 Coca-Cola 600 on Amazon Prime begins with Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson battling for the lead. Then all of a sudden, Willie B makes a big move, and he's now in the lead! But he still has to deal with Kyle Larson, who we all know can blast past anyone. Both Hendrick drivers battle each other by doing some aero blocking, and Larson gets past his teammate. Reddick is now in the mix as he starts running down William Byron. Chase Briscoe fell back to 5th and is no longer in contention to win the race. Thankfully, the commercial situation on Prime is nowhere near as bad as it was on Fox, and that's something that I like. We actually get to see all the crucial moments. So far, not much is going on. Reddick starts trailing him after Larson gets loose, but that hasn't affected him that much. Austin Dillon comes down to pit road on lap 42, and next to join in is Josh Barrett. And Larson starts spinning around and causes the caution, but he manages to save his car. Man, he is just not having any luck so far. Several drivers come down to pit road. Willie B wins the race off of pit road. But because this is Amazon Prime, there's no race off pit road like in the other broadcast. Or is there? However, we still get coverage of the pit crews themselves. So yeah, I won't be taking a look at the races off of pit road on Amazon Prime broadcast unless if I have to. Or will they cover races off pit road? Well, you're about to find out. Chase Briscoe also has issues on pit road and he has to take the penalty due to equipment interference. And Josh Bilicki gets a loose tire. At first it was Kyle Larson, but thankfully it wasn't. After that goofy incident has happened, the race restarts with Willie B jumping to the lead, though Chris Buescher is right behind him. Sadly, no distance counter for Larson is shown, even though Kurt Busch had one. Denny starts catching up, and there I thought he wasn't going to be at his best in the Coke 600. He gets past Noah Gragson for 7th. Jimmy Johnson starts moving up to 32nd, and here's to hoping that he'll make it to the entire race. Yeah, especially Michael Moose wants him to make it to the entire race on his final start. Noah Gragson starts catching up to Alex Bowman while Reddick and Byron continue to battle each other for the lead. Christopher Bell has joined the chat as he is running in 3rd. Chastain continues to move up, and he gets past his teammate SVG for 21st. John Hunter Nemechek is running in 4th and got past Chris Buescher. With 3 to go on the first stage, we get another caution with another HMS car having issues. And this time, it's Alex Bowman. He also manages to blow a tire. Because the stage ended under caution, Willie B wins the stage under caution. Here we go. The next set of pit stops come underway. Michael McDowell wins the race off pit road. Yeah, it looks like they do races off pit road after all. We also got Ryan Blaney trying to hit Ross Chastain's car. The second stage begins with Byron jumping to the lead. Reddick is still trying to run down Byron, and the caution comes out with Jimmy, Zilich, and Custer getting involved. Jimmy gets a blown tire and then causes a domino effect by having Zilich and Custer spins out. Credit goes to Michael Moose for coming up with that nickname for Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, and I really like it. It's really good. It represents Jimmy Johnson, and I like how Michael Moose comes up with that nickname. Comes up with a lot of hilarious nicknames, even if some of them are known to be really offensive to some, if you know what I mean. Larson comes down to pit road to get some adjustments done to his car, and then comes down to pit road again to get the tires changed. The caution ends with Reddick dashing by this time, and the caution ends with Reddick dashing by this time around until Willie B manages to get past him. SVG almost caused the caution, but he managed to save his car, and then Denny starts battling one of the drivers from his team that he co-owns. We get a freeway battle yet again, and it goes to show that the next-gen strength is at the intermediate tracks. Carson Hocevar overtakes AJ. Meanwhile, Brad K, SVG, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. get into a battle for the top 20. Reddick tries to get past Willie B until he blocks him, and just like that, Willie B gains a huge lead gap. In the next-gen car, once someone finds clean air, they vanish, something that can be fixed with DRS. Yeah, I'm not one of those guys who wants more horsepower. In my opinion, the best solution to reducing drag is to install DRS. I mean, if Harry Gant's team can make a movable wing, then I don't see why NASCAR themselves can't construct a similar system to the next-gen car to allow for more passing. John Hunter Nemechek and McDowell come down to pit road. What's cool about Amazon Prime is that they tell you who's on pit road, meaning that I don't have to make a guess on who went to pit road. Briscoe is next to come down to pit road, and Reddick then comes down. Stenhouse, Jones, and Haley also joins in. AJ then comes down to pit road, as does Gregson and Prosper, Texas. Willie B, aka Free Willie, then comes down to pit road and gives up the lead to Hamlin. Next to come down to pit road is Hamlin, and Hocevar is now leading. Bushi, SVG, and Blaney are next to come down to pit road. Because the stages are so long, green flag pit stops are expected. And then Herbst has issues on pit road. Gilliland and Ty Dillon also come down to pit road on this lap. Gibbs, Berry, and Bell come down to pit road on the next lap. Larson is currently leading, and he too gives up the lead as he has to make a pit stop. Reddick, Nemechek, and Hamlin all battle for second. Contact ensues with Prosper, Texas, and Bell. Brad K tries his best to stay on the lead lap, and he fails as Byron got past him. Hamlet got past Reddick for second. Todd Gilliland does a Jacob Abel and gets back on the lead lap. Bubba is also trying to prevent himself from getting lapped. Chastain is now a ninth and has gotten past Chase Elliott. Willie B wins stage number 2, and we have 2 more stages to go as this race is long. And Bushy spins around. All drivers come down to pit road to do the honor and remember ceremony. Not because of a rain delay this time around. It's a great speech, and even though I'm Canadian, I still appreciate them doing the ceremony to honor the troops. Nearly the entire field comes down to pit road, and Willie B and Hamlin go neck and neck. Usually the third stage will be the final stage, but not here though. It's only the midpoint of the race itself. The third stage begins with Byron taking the lead, and then Hamlin is running him down. Bell is running in 14th while Hamlin and Byron continue to duke it out. And the caution comes out with Zane Smith violently hitting the wall and wrecking his car. Looks like SVG had a vendetta against Zane Smith. Yeah, especially when Zane Smith got booted from Trackhouse. Probably why they don't want him on Trackhouse. Yeah, I'm talking about Zane Smith, not Shane Van Gisbergen. Our next race off pit road begins, and once again, Willie B and Hamlin go neck and neck. Connor Zilich gets penalized for going over too many pit boxes. Dang it! The caution ends with Hamlin, Chastain, and Byron battling for the lead. More contact ensues in the back, and Suarez, Larson, and Blaney get involved. More contact ensues in the back, and Suarez, Larson, and Blaney get involved in it. Larson had to go over to the garage. Normally it wouldn't be so bad, except that he's doing the double again this year, but because of the new DVP rules, he's not on the race yet. They're given a set amount of time to fix his car. The caution ends, and Hamlin and Byron are still neck and neck. Willie B gets past him, and then Carson is trying to run down Hamlin. Chastain falls back to 6th. Holy crapper, Hamlin gets past Byron. because apparently they couldn't get his car fixed in time, or they can't fix his car under the new DVP rules, and NASCAR just find it to be unrepairable at this point, or damaged beyond repair. Larson is now out of the race. So close to beating Kurt Busch. Yeah, I really wanted Kyle Larson to beat Kurt Busch's double attempt, because Larson had a much better car than Busch, and his car does something that Kurt Busch's does not. Actually stay together throughout the whole entire race with its engine. Yeah, it doesn't blow an engine, but it does get damaged because of frickin' Suarez. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I still like Suarez, but it's not his fault they caused the caution, no, it's just an accident. Hocevar now gets past Byron for second until Byron has had enough and gets past him. Hamlin tries his best to hold off Willie B with 20 to go in the third stage. Hamlin throws the block and Willie B starts falling behind a bit. Just like that, Willie B gets past Hamlin after both get loose. Byron gets loose again and the battle for the lead still goes on. Willie B wins the third stage. Hopefully, the pit stops will shake things up. The next race off the pit road begins, and this time Hamlin wins the race off the pit road. Here we go. The fourth and final stage begins with Hamlin and Hocevar battling for the lead until Hocevar has engine issues and another caution comes out. Hocevar blows an engine. Hamlin and Chastain should be lucky to avoid this wreck. The caution ends with Hamlin getting a push from Reddick, and thanks to him, he was able to get past Byron, but Byron still manages to get past Hamlin. Reddick gets past Hamlin for second. AJ and Chastain are also going neck and neck, and then Hamlin trades blows with Reddick and is back in second. Another long battle for the lead ensues, and Hamlin trades blows with Byron yet again for the lead. And yes, he even trades raps with him. Literally. He literally trades blows with him. Byron gets the lead back, but the pit stops could change everything. Christopher Bell comes down to pit road, and next to join in are Hamlin and Byron. More drivers come down to pit road. Both Byron and Hamlin are neck and neck on pit road yet again. Chastain is now in the lead. Tyler Reddick gets penalized for going too fast down to pit road. Ross comes down to pit road and Reddick had to come down to serve his penalty. Hamlin starts falling behind and Chastain starts running him down. Chastain gets past Hamlin for second. Reddick gets loose and hits the wall, but no caution is thrown. Even better is the fact that Chastain is running Byron down like Hamlin once did. Hamlin is out of fuel. Holy crap! Ross Chastain got ahead, and Chastain wins the Coca-Cola 600! Yep. I just had to do that. Oh my god, holy crap. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Yeah, just quote that quote from Ghostbusters. Yeah, it's a metaphorical phrase that is described whenever something crazy goes on, and this is it. While Larson didn't do the full 1,100-mile distance, it doesn't matter, as at the end of the day, the race was worth it to see the Melon Man lock himself in the playoffs, and for the first time, the best patriotic scheme wins the race, aside from Willie B's car, which also looks great, but I think Trackhouse just kills it with the patriotic schemes and the paint schemes in general. So not only has Trackhouse had the best paint scheme, they also deliver on getting a race win for Chastain. There's no question about it. The race gets a 10 out of 10. Yes, it has flaws, but there is a lot of action going on. It is the best race of the Triple Crown Review Spectacular, especially when Trackhouse had to spend all night to build another car for him after the other one got wrecked during practice that was deemed to be unrepairable by NASCAR. Because, yeah, sometimes NASCAR can be iffy with their DVP policies. Sometimes the car can be repaired, sometimes they consider it to be unrepairable. Yeah, it's really iffy. And some components can't be removed, like safety components. Again, iffy. Let's hope that they pass tech inspection, and newsflash, they do. Thankfully, Trackhouse Racing has passed tech inspection in NASCAR, and Ross Chastain is declared the winner, which puts a smile on my face. This is something that I wanted to see. And oh man, I got a tear when I saw Ross Chastain win. I didn't think he was going to win, but he did it. And my wish of having Chastain win a my wish of having Chastain win a crown jewel event is finally granted. It's also the first time he won the Coca-Cola 600 itself. But he called it the World 600. It's also his first time winning the Coca-Cola 600 itself, but hilariously enough, he called it the World 600 in the interviews. But anyways, this year's Triple Crown Review Spectacular has been great. Norris wins Monaco. Palou is still unstoppable, which some people still are mad about. Come on, man. Cry about it. Palou is making IndyCar history. You should be celebrating. It's not the hybrid system that's doing the work. It's the fact that he's talented as heck. He's talented as heck. No one can stop him except for Kyle Kirkwood. So yeah, that's why I described him to be the Tadej Pogacar of IndyCar, or Max Verstappen of IndyCar, because he can win, but he can be beaten. It can be done, but it's hard though. And Chastain defies the odds and locks himself into the playoffs. Wow. What a week to remember. I'm glad I stayed up late to witness the finale at Charlotte. It was so worth it. And here's my salute to an excellent Chastain victory. God bless you, Ross. You, the Melon Man, have managed to win this year's Coke 600 in an epic fashion and managed to deliver a perfect race with a perfect underdog victory, and you prove that you still have it and you can do the things that you're always good at doing, managing to win the race with the fierce tenacity that you have at your disposal. Now, here's a bonus clip for you guys. So, I'm going to be ranking every patriotic paint scheme in the 2025 Coke 600, and up first is Ross Chastain. Yeah, he goes into S tier. Yeah, easy S tier. Easily the best paint scheme in the race. Yeah, I know it's from last year, but Trackhouse is killing it with the paint schemes. Yeah, same as last year, but still looks great. It ages like a fine wine. Yeah, Austin Cindric sadly didn't get a patriotic paint scheme, but Austin Dillon did, and A tier. It at least looks pretty good. Noah Gregson's is literally just putting the American flag on a regular paint scheme. D tier. Yeah, there's not much effort to it other than putting the, well, American flag on a regular paint scheme. The number 5, S tier. Yeah, even though Kyle Larson didn't complete the whole 1,100 mile distance, he should still be proud to do the Indianapolis Charlotte double. I'm hoping that because Will Power will be leaving Penske and retiring from IndyCar 2026, I believe, that will leave an empty seat for Ryan Blaney to do the double. I'm hoping he eventually gets to do the double, and hopefully he can arrange something with Roger Penske himself. And yeah, he should do it. It's good. And having Will Power have an empty seat here will give him an opportunity to do the double. That, or they can get David Malukas in the car, which David Malukas definitely deserves the number 12 IndyCar seat at Penske. But anyways, number 6. Yeah, it's an A tier for me, a high A tier. It looks really cool. They got the patriotic look down, but I believe it's the same from last year. Number 7, though, it's literally like they just swapped around the colors for the scheme. Yeah, they just took a regular Gamebridge scheme and just swapped around the colors. D tier. Yeah. Don't worry, it's just my opinion. Yeah, it might have less effort to it than Noah Gregson's car. Yeah, and of course we got no patriotic paint scheme for Bushy, but we got one for Chase Elliott. His is a high A tier for me. Yeah, it kind of looks like if the military would have a playoff format. It kind of gives off that snow camo look, which I like. I actually do like it when they replicate camo other than the urban camo and forest camo and jungle camo that a lot of cars usually have. So I do like it when they replicate the snow camo. it does look like snow camo, because urban camo is usually gray and snow camo is white and gray. The number 10, yeah, definitely a high A tier for me. Since I do like the look of the car itself. Yeah, I wasn't going to put it as a patriotic scheme, but it does look like one. 11, yeah, even though this was also used in the Daytona 500, it's an S tier. Not as good as, in my opinion, as Kyle Larson's double attempts car, but still pretty good. And I think that Denny Hamlin nailed down the patriotic scheme. It's amazing that his car survived the Coke 600, given that Denny Hamlin's car can sometimes be iffy with its components. But when he does have a good day, he has a good day. Number 12. For me, it has to go into A tier. Yeah, it's a new flavor of body armor, and it's got the red, white, and blue. Yeah, it makes me want to get that flavor of body armor. Number 16, S tier. Yeah, I might actually prefer it over Hamlin's car. Sorry, Hamlin. I like you and all. As much as I like you, the Dinger definitely has a great patriotic paint scheme. And Chris Buescher's car also goes into high A tier for me. Yeah, and I do like the camo that they pulled off here, the camo scheme. I always like camo schemes. Chase Briscoe's car, yeah, S tier. Yeah, not as good as, in my opinion, as Denny Hamlin's car, but it looks cool. Christopher Bell's car is A tier for me because, well, it's usually the same car that he ran last year. Not much to it. 22, on the other hand, as good as it looks, F tier. It's not even a patriotic paint scheme. It's not even a patriotic paint scheme. It's just a paint scheme that's a tribute to Scotty Mac's car. Yeah, I do like it, but it's not patriotic. Yeah, I know. Kyle Larson's double attempt car isn't patriotic either, but his car looks great. And it could be considered a patriotic scheme since it's supposed to represent the same car that he ran in with his double attempt. But it failed, though. 24, though, S tier. Yeah, the 24 of Willie B's car. Those exalted paint schemes always look great, I tells you, man. Yeah, whether if it's flames and the patriotic flames, it's like you're grilling some meat. Yeah, you're cooking some American beef. 42 goes into it goes into S tier. Yeah, I prefer it over Chase Briscoe's car, and it actually looks great. 43, on the other hand, yeah, definitely an A tier. I put it right below Chase Elliott and Chris Buescher's car, and Ty Dillon's car. Number 47, do not be fooled by its patriotic flair. It looks like a regular paint scheme that he would be using. So it is a C tier. But hey, at least it has more effort put to it than Noah Gragson's car and Justin Haley's car. Number 48, S tier. Yeah, they really nailed the patriotic look down to a T. Hendrick always makes the best patriotic schemes. Second best. Best are Trackhouse. Yeah, number 51 of Cody Ware sadly has to go into low. Yeah, has to sadly go into D tier for me, because, yeah, aside from the red, white, and blue, it doesn't give off that patriotic flair. Number 60 of Ryan Preece, well, it looks like a regular scheme. I thought it was a regular scheme until I saw the jungle camo on it. But it's a C tier for me. As at least it kind of looks better than Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s car. It actually looks kind of like a patriotic car representing a military camo. Number 71 of Michael McDowell. Yeah. It's an A tier for me. Right below Ryan Blaney's car. Number 77 of Carson Hocevar. Yeah, it's slots right into the D tier since it's no different from his regular Chili scheme. And seriously, why did you have to give the Chili sponsor to Carson Hocevar instead of Justin Haley? Justin Haley nailed down the fake cowboy look to a T. Now, 84 is what Michael Moose likes to call Jimmy's last right. Yeah, like Michael Moose always calls Jimmy Johnson Jimmy. And unfortunately, he did not complete the full 600-mile distance, so it's really unfortunate, but still an S tier for me, because it's Jimmy's last ride. Yeah, I know, like, it's not patriotic either. I know I'm trying to be a hypocrite here, but it's unique. It looks like a paint scheme that was made to honor Jimmy Johnson's final ride. Now, the number 99, that goes into S tier. No question about it, man. S tier. Oh yeah. Trackhouse always delivers on the patriotic schemes, even if one of them's from last year. They still make the best paint schemes. Yeah, even if one of them's from last year, they still make the best paint schemes. Trackhouse is absolutely killing it. But anyways, on to, well, a bonus review that I made. So let's go. Bonus content time? Yeah, I decided to watch the highlight reel of the F2 feature race at Monaco, as you have to get up real early to see it, which I'm not willing to do. Sorry. I'm just not willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning, and yes, I know that time zones in Europe are different, just to see the feature race of F2. Yeah, I did see the sprint race portion of it, but not the feature race. But anyways, the race begins with Victor Martins and Alex Dunn battling for the lead. And then there's contact with the two, which results in a massive pile-up. Good lord, the race hasn't even started and there's already chaos going on. Ugh. Talk about a massive calamity. And just like that, Alex Dunn is out of the race and the race itself gets red flagged. Richard Vachor also gets taken out and he is now out of the race. On that free, Fernelli is now leading and Sebastian Montoya is running in second. Unlike the sprint race, the feature race is timed, meaning that if the timer runs out, then the race is over and the drivers would have to try to finish the race after the timer had run out because, well, you know, there's the main race in Formula 1 and yada yada yada. Yeah, something I didn't know about while reviewing the sprint race. I was under the impression that it counted towards laps and it wasn't timed. Well, it makes sense for it to be timed because it's a city course and they've got Formula 1. Oh well, live and learn. Dirksen tries to move up and is running on the super soft compounds. Manny tries to get past Browning and wasn't able to do it, as we all know that Monaco is narrow. And then there's more contact and Dirksen hits the wall yet again. Poor Dirksen. He could never seem to catch a break. Sammy Magunov, sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation, comes down to pit road along with a couple of other drivers, and as expected, we do get our pit stops that happened earlier in the race itself. Magunov also encountered Bennett on pit road, and he got a little too close to comfort. Magunov also encountered Bennett on pit road and got a little too close for comfort. He also attempted to overtake Bennett, but wasn't able to do so as Bennett was just too fast on the chicane. Shields also slowed down to get out of the way of both drivers. With 14 minutes and 6 seconds to go, Meganovic would end up in the wall and get stuck. Yeah, that name I remember how to pronounce. Because of this incident, the safety car had to be deployed. Several drivers, including Crawford, then decided to pit in under yellow. The son of jet driver Montoya also loses a place to Fernelli and Lindblad, who just barely manages to get away from him. Crawford is now in the lead. The red flag came out due to barrier damage. Wait, that wrecked the barrier? Yeah, like, that's weird. The race ended under a red flag as the timer ran out. Montoya also went on the podium, which is great to see. He got the podium as Lindblad got penalized yet again. Yeah, it seems that Lindblad can never escape getting a penalty. Yeah, I did find out that the race originally had 42 laps until they had to time it. The feature race of Monaco gets a 7 out of 10 as it ended under a red flag. It's good that Montoya himself got a podium finish and that Crawford got a win, but it's still pretty bad to see the race end under a red flag. In my opinion, the F1 Monaco GP is the place to go if you want to see an epic Monaco race. But anyways, time to sign off. This year's Triple Crown review spectacular is one to remember, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell just in case, if you haven't already done so. Catch you guys next time. Here's to the Melon Man winning a crown jewel race. Peace out.